we're good. So welcome back to Barbells and Banter, episode 8, guys. Today we got Taylor and Mo with us. What's up, guys?
Hello. Take two.
Yeah, take two. This is we tried to record this it was probably a month ago or more. And it vanished.
Yeah, apparently.
Simply.
YouTube channel growing pains. Shit happens.
Yeah, no, that's all we can do. But
we don't like talking, so we're happy to do it again.
Yeah, especially Taylor.
Yeah.
But anyways, so today I want to start off. We're all kind of affiliated with Jack Factory. Taylor and Morgan are both full athletes, and I'm an ambassador or affiliate or whatever. So yeah, we're going to talk about that today, and talk about how we got started with Jack Factory and kind of got on board with the team, and kind of where we gone from there. So Mo, you've been with them the longest. So
yeah, I was like technically the first Jack Factory athlete, and it was just what's that?
I said subtle flex.
Oh yeah, yeah.
No big deal.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the time it wasn't because it was, and I just happened to be like good friends with the guy who started it, and and basically like I guess I was the only one in the area who was kind of taking bodybuilding like pretty seriously at the time, and posting a lot, had some type of like local presence on social media, I guess, when it came to like the fitness scene. So yeah, I just started doing like photo shoots and stuff for him, just basic stuff to help him just get some product shots and just basic advertising just to get off the ground. And then obviously because of that, I started getting free product and got a code and all that stuff, and started promoting the brand that way. But yeah, it was just like 4 or 5 of us when it started. Johnny and his right hand man at the time were doing their thing on the business side of it. They had like a couple photographers and me. And then, I was lucky enough to stay with them up until this point. So that's that was back in 2017. So that's 4 years now.
Wow.
It's crazy.
And I mean, obviously to watch the company grow like it has is amazing. And the quality of the athletes we have. And now you guys are my friends and you guys are involved. I feel like we just have some special thing going with this brand, and especially how it originated where we're all from, which is just like Newfoundland, Canada, which is like way off the map for like the fitness scene. And now
totally
off the map everywhere.
Yeah, but now it's not, because now you have one of the most prominent supplement companies in the fitness industry that are based out of there. And I mean, we arguably have the most popular fitness athlete on the planet as our top guy, right? So
easily, yeah.
So
sure.
I think it's awesome, and I know, for me, like I aspire to be with Jack Factory my whole bodybuilding and fitness coaching career, whatever you want to call it. Because that's another way I think I've just kind of bettered my involvement with Jack Factory is through my clients as well, and getting them to use the Jack Factory products, and all of them were having awesome experiences with it and stuff like that. So, just to be part of a good brand with good intentions that have good products and be able to share with people I'm helping and how much it's helping me. Yeah. It's just awesome, I think.
Yeah, totally. I feel like it means a little more from being there from the very beginning. It's almost like it's a little piece of you, because you were there from the very start, right? And you plan to be there for as long as you can be, right? So
yeah, I want to play for one team, man. That's my thing, right?
The brand loyalty is there, that's for sure.
Yeah, I understand why athletes I feel really lucky to have had the opportunity to start with this company, and now obviously is what it's turned into. But I understand why other athletes, obviously not everyone gets an opportunity, and some people have to bounce around from brand to brand, because let's face it, this is an expensive hobby, and if you can get the help from a brand, whether it's just getting free product or free product plus some commission, whatever it is, even a discount on products, that's helpful. Yeah. And people are going to do what they want to do in that aspect, right? But I mean, if I can just be with Jack Factory my whole career, and it's to the point now where people ask me, someone asked me a couple of days ago, hey, what's the best place to, what's the best pump pre-workout to get locally? And I was like, I honestly don't know. I've only used Jack Factory stuff for years now. So I know of other brands and stuff, of course, but I don't know any other products from other brands, and I don't know what's in them. So I can't even recommend anything else at this point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, totally.
Yeah, so if you ask me for supplements, you're not willing to buy Jack Factory, sorry.
You're out of luck.
Yeah, you're out of luck. Unless it's like health supplements, that's different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, totally. And it definitely means a little more to us, like being from our hometown. It's like they're helping us grow and we're helping them grow, and we're kind of all growing together, which is pretty awesome.
And it's just the guys over there, man. Like such an awesome staff, and they want to keep it like kind of like locally like based. Like you know what I mean? Like they could easily just be like signing up. Like a lot of their business is in the United States. Don't forget that. Like a large majority.
Yeah.
So they could easily be investing in more ambassadors and athletes in the United States. Sorry about my dog, if you can hear that. Say, give it up. But they don't. That's my point. So they don't. They still invest in us and stuff like that. So that shows you just how like awesome those people are over there. Like
Oh,
what I mean?
totally.
Like, trying to do, and it's still working. Like the brand is still growing like at a phenomenal rate. So
yeah,
it's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, no, it's awesome.
Yeah, I agree.
Taylor, do you want to talk about kind of where you're at with it all and kind of how you got
started? Yeah. So kind of like similarly, I guess I watched like Morgan. He was an athlete for them. And we all worked at Cave Dog. So I feel like that's something we talked about last time too. Like we all worked at a supplement store that was at the time owned by the same guy, or partially owned by the same guy. So I kind of got introduced to like bodybuilding and all of that, like through working there, and like obviously just like competing and whatnot. And I didn't even really realize like people were sponsored and like how all it worked. So once I started working there, I was like, oh, like what is this jacked kind of thing? I think I did. Am I freezing, by the way? No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we can still hear you.
Yeah, we can hear you fine though.
Okay. As long as you can hear me. Yeah, so like basically did a review on YouTube and stuff of like my first order, and I was like, I actually really like this stuff. Feeling the same as you, like I wanted to like kind of grow with something. I didn't want to just be like bouncing around trying different things. I wanted to like stick to a brand and like see what I thought about it. So I just honestly started sharing my fitness journey like through Instagram. And kind of with competing and whatnot, I was always getting a lot of questions and just stuck to using the products, and then eventually did what Ryan's doing with the like affiliate side of things, and then quickly became an athlete from there. So it was like I was just really sharing like what I liked, what I didn't like, being honest with like my followers and whatnot, and transparent. And I just really liked the products, and I felt like the more I put into it, the more they were willing to like give back as a business, which you don't see very often. So I really liked that, and they're super easy to talk to. And I basically was like, what do you guys need from me? Like, this is where I want to be. These are my goals. And they were like, do it kind of thing. So I'm really happy with like the professionalism, even though we are all from Newfoundland and they are too. Like I found it was very much like I went through the same process as like anybody would have. And yeah, I don't know, it's super cool. It happened way faster than I thought it was, but it was more so like put the work in and then it happens from there kind of thing.
Yeah, and you went to work, man. Like, because anytime I see someone start with a supplement brand, just because of like my experience, like you're kind of just like, okay, like let's see how this goes. Like, because you understand as an athlete, what you get out of it is what you put into it, and it takes a lot of effort to like live your life, do everything you have to do, and then take this responsibility of representing a brand on top of it, and actually put effort into the content you're putting out there. And like I remember just like you just like really like took it on and put out a lot of like you said, just stuff you were using and like being honest about the products and things like that. And I mean obviously worked out really well for you.
Yeah, I'm like super happy with how everything turned out, and like it's cool to watch Ryan kind of go through that now. And like even me, like I made a post the other day about going through dips with like posting and like consistency and all of that, but like at the end of the day, like I feel like we all kind of feed off of each other, and like you said, it's like a family and we have friends now, and it's like it's not a competition, it's like we work together. And with the whole like jacked thing in general, like all I was trying to do was just say, hey, like I'm new to supplements, I'm new to trying things, like this is all like stuff I'm giving a go, like I'll let you guys know what I think. And it was all very genuine, and then it turned into me being like, hey, like I like the values of this place, like these people are great, like what can I do with this, and how is it going to benefit me and how can I benefit them. And it's never like a situation where I feel like I have to post, like I don't have to like do things for them, like I want to, I'm like I want to share like how this stuff helps me, or like what I think about it, or how I get creative with my things. Yes, I don't know.
You cut out there for the last like 10 seconds probably.
Oh, I was just basically saying like, it happened organically and it was like easy. Like it just didn't feel like a job. It just kind of felt like right to do, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. And that's what I found. Like before my first show, I was working with Magnum Nutraceuticals, and they're like such a big company in Canada. And so they were just like they were really good. Like they sent me like a bunch of products every month, but it definitely seemed like more of a job, and they weren't as like closely knit with the athletes or ambassadors. Like it was more so like they sent you it. They're like, okay, you got to do like this product shoot, and then you got to like do this demo at a store like every couple weeks. And like it was more so just like a checklist rather than like with Jack Factory. It's like as an ambassador, they've like given me products to do giveaways. Like I did a giveaway like a month or so ago, and they were so willing to do that, like, and just kind of like help me out like however way they could. So it's been a really good experience so far, I gotta say.
It's like a good relationship with Jack Factory where it's like, I mean, every now and then they'll give us like if they have like a new product coming out, like they'll be like, hey, like we want you to do
requirements.
This. Yeah, I actually like that because I'm the type of guy to say, okay, just tell me what you want done, like I'll do it. Like it's easier for me. But then with everything else, they're kind of just like, yeah, just be honest like with what you use, and you know throw up a few stories, throw up a post, like
What was that?
I don't know what just happened.
Super weird, man.
Yeah. Yeah, but no, I totally agree. Like, it's like even doing the demos and like the samples that they get us to do for like new products. It's like that's just really giving us content to post, and like they have like a structured thing that they want us to do, so it's like super easy to do, and it's all outlined.
Yeah, you're not like left in the dark. Like they'll give you the structure, but there's no pressure, and it feels easy to do. Like you're like, okay, yeah, this is cool. Like I get to just share my honest opinion, and like you can do it in multiple different ways.
Yeah, exactly. It makes it, like you said, it makes it more fun. Like it's not stressful. Like like there's expectations, but they aren't set super high. Like because I think some of that stuff in the industry is like arbitrary, and then it comes off fake. Like a lot of times, you see other athletes. Like I know there's athletes with like hundreds of thousands of followers, and I have a hard time understanding why they have that many followers, even though like they're like young, good-looking fitness people. But I'm like, your content's trash. Like everything you put out is some advertisement that looks like it was copy and pasted from like your athlete manager or something like that. And I'm just like why do you give them
there's
back?
no personality there. Like there's no like genuine. Yeah,
I feel like too, you can get people like you're more convincing, and like you're able to kind of get more people to use these products if you do that naturally. You just post a story, be like, going to work out now, like this is what I'm taking, or I'm doing this post workout, rather than being like, this product, like I love this product, like $34.99 now and all this stuff. You know what I mean? Like it's like you're not going to get anyone.
I don't think I've ever put like the price of a product. I don't think I've ever had to like in a be like, oh, there's like if there's a sale, like we'll repost the Jack Factory post, but they're never like, oh, push the prices or whatever, because it's just like it's good quality stuff. Yeah, and it's what we use. Like it's literally,
you get what you pay for.
Exactly, and I like people who follow me. Like I was saying when I did the little unboxing originally when I started my YouTube channel, it was like, I bought all of that stuff. Like I was buying things, and then like the affiliate program, like you get discounts, but like you're still purchasing it. So it's like and if I want extra stuff, I'm like, hey Ben, like I'll buy the stuff. Like I genuinely don't mind, because I'm like, I actually like the stuff. Like, you know what I mean? So it's like it's not like they're like, oh, here's like a bunch of stuff and you have to push it. Like they're like order what you want and what you like, and then talk about it. They don't say you have to order a protein or you have to order a pre-workout.
There's lots of stuff I haven't used still. I mean, just because
things is like whatever you like that works for you and your regime, like order it. And yeah, like it's just like you use what you need, and they're like what works. And it's so cool because like obviously what I need is different than what you need, you know what I mean? Or might be,
Yeah, no, 100%.
Well, that's the thing too, like about having like all the athletes like us too, like people can see that we use different stuff, and I think that just shows that we're being more transparent, right? Because if we were all just saying we're using everything, like I mean, people are going to see through that. And like that's why, like I was even thinking today, like sometimes I'm hesitant to post about what I'm using because I just use the same stuff at the same time every single day.
Yeah,
like that's what it is. Like when you have a set diet and you're actually properly supplementing your diet based upon the needs of supplementation, it should look the same every day.
Yeah, it's a
Like,
consistency.
obviously, you're going to find new product stuff that you can add in. Maybe you find a replacement for things like that. And that's more times when I post about it is when if I change the way I do my pre-workout, or if I start drinking my carbs intra-workout as opposed to post-workout. Like, I kind of just give updates on that stuff and be like, hey, this is what's working for me right now. Probably just because I'm in prep and like this and this and that. And I think that just kind of shows that you're just being more real about it, and then people will try that themselves if they know that's what you're actually doing, and if you inspire them in some way, right?
Quick question on that. What do you do for your carbs currently? Like, are you taking them intra-workout or post-workout?
What I do now is I'll mix up 2 scoops of Carb Surge to take to the gym with me.
Yeah.
And I'll usually start drinking it like halfway through my workout.
Yeah.
And that's a big reason for that is because, usually my routine now is I'll train from like 2:30 to 3:30, start drinking carbs at 3, but save about half of them for after my workout, because then I usually run home right quick and walk my dogs for like a half an hour.
Yeah.
And then I'll go eat and stuff like that. So I just like to have some carbs to kind of get me through that last little bit of cardio I'm going to do before I actually like chill out.
No, totally.
If I drink my carbs too early, sometimes I'll go hypo when I'm doing cardio post workout.
Yeah.
So it kind of just holds me over.
No, I'm the same way. Well, like, we're doing me and Luke are carb cycling now. So like on high carb days, I'll do 2 scoops. So I usually have like, I'll drink like 1 scoop kind of beforehand, and then I'll have that second scoop like halfway through and going into after my workout.
Yeah. And I find too, it makes sense, right? Because if you like, I'll eat 2 meals before I train that both have carbs in them every day.
Yes.
Like I have glycogen stored from those meals. Like, I don't need carbs the first half of my workout. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, totally.
Usually I'll get to like my 3rd exercise and then I'll start like sipping.
Yeah. And you'll feel it, like kind of like, okay, like I feel like I kind of need something here.
Yeah.
Totally. Good there, Taylor?
Disappeared.
Yeah,
I'm trying to get this. You guys, like, both your screens went black on mine. I can still hear you, but I was like, I kind of want to see them talk, so I just refreshed it.
Yeah, it seems pretty good there now.
So a really good kind of talking point we had last time was talking about like dating and relationships in this lifestyle and like bodybuilding.
That was a good conversation.
Yeah, it was a good conversation.
Do you want to dive back into that?
Yeah, let's dive back into it.
Okay, well, I'll start.
Reins on it.
Morgan, you're in a relationship. I think I started by asking you how you found that, because I know that I was in a relationship for a couple of years, and I've been single now for about a year. And it's definitely changed a lot of like how I do things, and like your freedom, and like all the different, like that kind of stuff, but also just like being restrictive and like living a bodybuilding lifestyle. A lot of people don't understand like the, I guess, like dedication and like the detail that goes into that, and what actually takes from a partner to be able to like commit to living that lifestyle with you, or if like you live it on your own and they kind of like are here and there. Like, I don't know, like I just didn't know if you wanted to like touch on like how you make your relationship work with like competing, and if you think it's important that the person that you're with is living that same lifestyle or a similar lifestyle, or do you think that like they can kind of just do their own thing and it doesn't really affect you at all?
I know for me, like I don't think I'd really be able to be in a relationship with someone who was like not living like some type of like fitness based lifestyle where it was like a priority to them, just because it's such a priority like to me, right? And like obviously like my whole life is consumed by between like my hobby, my career, and just my day-to-day life. So I definitely don't need to be with a competitor. I mean, I don't even know if that's a good thing. Like, really, like I guess it would depend on the relationship itself. But yeah, I guess just for me, someone who is in it and understands it and needs to understand, like, obviously that for me, bodybuilding is super important and it's going to be a priority. So like, if I'm in a relationship where I feel like the relationship's taken away from like bodybuilding, because that's really what makes me happy and it's just something like I need to do. Like the relationship will take a backseat every time.
Right.
So if there is like major conflict there, then I'll just kind of get out of it. But I'm also willing to like, work with someone, try to help them understand, and try to have some balance in a relationship as well, to where like I can still do everything I need to do, but still be accommodating to the person, like, and their needs, obviously, because
and support them and what they want. Yeah,
because like it is a selfish lifestyle, but like if I'm, I guess if I want to be with someone bad enough and they're a priority to me, then I need to be willing to like contribute and sacrifice what I can for the betterment of the relationship, right? So I think you got to have that mindset. Like, if you're in a space and you're a competitor and you're really like living this lifestyle, like, you know, like in a hardcore way, I guess, you know, it might be best for you to not be in a relationship at that point in time, right? And I know for me, probably in my earlier years of doing this, I was like dating girls, breaking up with girls. I was all over the place because I was just kind of figuring this out, right? And
Right.
when you do this, you know, especially as a bodybuilder, like you learn a lot about yourself like along the way, and you know the way you feel about things change and your perspective on things change. So I think I was evolving as a person like throughout that. But now that I've been in this for so long, and I know my own behavior, and I know, like, you know, during prep this is where I am, like during off season this is where I am. I can kind of communicate that to my partner, which is what I do in my current relationship. And I'm like, listen, like this is like an 8-week period where like I'm gonna be a little different and like a bit more self-centered, and I might not, it might not seem like I care about you as much as I usually
even
do.
irritable or something.
Yeah, just give people a heads up, like, you know, like that's what I try to do. Like I think communication relationships is something that's like, you know, missing in a lot of relationships. I think people like just play a lot of weird games with each other and keep a lot of stuff like built up inside. And you know, I've learned from past relationships not to do that so much anymore. So you know, if like I said, like, you know, that's what I'm doing right now. My current relationship is a good example. Like I'm getting into like the harder weeks of prep now, so like as you guys are, and I'm just kind of communicating that, you know, this is how I feel at times, and I might seem like I'm taking it on you, but I'm not trying to.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, just try to kind of like understand that as best you can. But if I'm being a dick, just tell me.
Yeah, I feel
like accepting both sides of it, like being like, tell me too, so I can check myself, you know?
Exactly, because you don't want to treat the people that you're supposed to love badly.
Yeah.
No,
And I feel like
it's not intentional.
communication is definitely important in a relationship, like where Chloe's not a competitor. Like she probably doesn't know, or she's learning through the process of kind of you competing, like kind of how you're going to react and how prep is going to affect you emotionally and how it's going to affect your like kind of mental space. Whereas like if you were dating a competitor, they would kind of already know. So I guess more communication is kind of needed.
Yeah,
needed throughout that time, which is great. I mean, it definitely just makes the relationship stronger.
Yeah, absolutely. And credit to anyone who can be with a competitor who's not a competitor themselves as well.
Yeah,
you know,
without a doubt.
Because that person has to give
Oh my God. Yeah.
You know, like you're that person can't go out and do social things with you, and it's like you can't have as much fun. Like they're obviously really focused on themselves, and that can kind of make you question things like inevitably in a relationship. You know what I mean? Even if you know that this person's prepping, that can still get in your head, right? For sure. So, you know, I think it's just like a team effort if you have one person in a relationship that's a competitor. But yeah, I mean, going back to the original question of like relationships, for me personally, yeah, that person just needs to be like live some sort of a fitness lifestyle, and yeah, it should be fine.
Yeah, they just need to be understanding.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Yeah,
I agree. Like I feel like as long as like to me like health like you is a priority, and it's more so the ambition side of things for me, like being with somebody who's ambitious and always not necessarily like in the gym or a power lifter or a bodybuilder, like that doesn't really matter to me. It's like someone who's trying to be a better version of themselves with something all the time. Like that's like what really like keeps me going, because I feel like with competing, that's why I like it, because I'm like I get to see my progress. I'm just trying to be better than I was before. And if I don't feel that someone's on par with that or doesn't understand that, then I find it very hard to connect with them. And I guess I'm just like always like reaching for more, and like, I'm always setting new goals and stuff. And if I find like a partner is not doing that, or they feel negatively towards like that kind of behavior or that lifestyle, it's not necessarily fitness related, but like I feel like health focus is something that like I personally would want from a partner. And if someone doesn't live that way or isn't like ambitious in that sense, it's like I'm immediately just kind of like, okay, well, I don't really see myself with them. But I think the support thing and the communication is the key, because I don't want to say I would never, like it's just more so like I'm not really looking, but like if I was, that's probably what I would be looking for, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think like
yeah, sorry,
you go ahead.
That's what I meant to say too. You know, I actually had this conversation with someone earlier. Like, you know, when someone's into like you know, going to the gym and eating healthy and stuff like that, that usually carries over to like a lot of other aspects of their life. You know what I mean? Like this person's obviously concerned with like, you know, their parents taking care of themselves. So they probably have their other priorities in life, like, you know, at least like somewhat straight, right?
And someone's more secure too. And I feel like for me, I'm always posting like different types of pictures, or like I'm in a bikini, or I'm like doing different things. And if the person that I'm with doesn't feel secure and confident with what they're doing, that can cause a lot of different issues in the relationship too. Like even you, Morgan, like you're always commenting on my stuff or like other girls' stuff that are like athletes, and Chloe like also does that. Like she's like very active and like supportive, and instead of being negative, she's like, oh my God, I love you guys. Like, you know what I mean? Like she loves the relationships that you've built through fitness. But if someone didn't understand the social media aspect, like the physique aspect, or why you do what you do, it could lead to a lot of issues with like insecurities. And if they're not like confident and secure with themselves, like I feel like it would take away from your own confidence and whatnot, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's totally true. I mean, exactly. I think that's a big part of what we do too with social media. And that's, I mean, that's something else that's worth talking about, I think, is that like, you know, your partner needs to understand that like you might do those things, and it's just part of networking, like building a following and support other people sometimes because they support you. And like this fitness niche we have is a pretty small group of people. So like we all kind of got to stick together and try to lift each other up. And I mean, we're only gonna benefit each other. You know what I mean? Obviously, you have people here and there that think that if someone else succeeds, it's gonna hurt their own success, which is complete nonsense. You know what I mean? I think you should be happy for people that are succeeding even what you're trying to do, because it's only gonna bring like, you know, good energy your way, good karma, and you have to like kind of, you know, like I said, it's just all about supporting each other. So exactly, and when you know that, you don't want your relationship taken away from that and making you question yourself if you want to like a girl's picture or comment like a supportive comment or share something. I mean,
like be authentic and like, yeah, like I've reached out to people because you feel like that's what you want to do. Like you want to support somebody who's like on the journey because you get it, you know?
Yeah, so I guess that's where trust comes in too, right? Like to let your partner know like, hey, like I'm doing these things, but it's not in like any distasteful kind of way. It's just like, you know, like from a professional, like an athlete supporting an athlete kind of thing. Even though you might be a good looking guy commenting on a good looking girl's picture, it doesn't always happen because you want to like, you know, hook up with her or start talking to her in any kind of way besides that, what it is, right?
Yeah, totally.
Exactly. Yeah. I also feel like I'm very direct. So if I was trying to do that with somebody, I feel like I'd just be like, hey, like, let's go out. Like, you know what I mean? I wouldn't be like, great work. Good hustle.
So you need to clarify in the fitness industry because like people support each other so much, like you don't even know if someone's hitting on you anymore. Like you have to be so direct.
I know people ask, they're like, are they hitting on you? I'm like, I don't think so. But then I'm like, I also comment like the same stuff on everyone's stuff. So I'm like, I'm not hitting on them. So I don't know.
You need to be like, oh, I think you look great, but like really.
Like really great.
Yeah. Like
one thing I just wanted to say to build on your first point, Mo, was that like because like we live this lifestyle and like we're constantly going into the gym and like bettering ourselves, we kind of understand like the characteristics that are kind of built from that and how they carry over into your life, like kind of the drive and the passion and like the dedication that it takes to do this and even just go to the gym and take care of our bodies. So like I think like even if it's just like subconsciously, you know that like you kind of want someone that has the same mentality, because if they're not doing that, then like you don't share the same mentality even outside of the gym, like in life.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a big thing. And the other thing is too is like having someone that also trains and goes to the gym. It just gives you another kind of like outlet. You guys can go, you guys can work out together, you guys can hang out there. So that's definitely another positive that could, you know, benefit a relationship.
Yeah, like when I think about dating someone who doesn't go, like literally doesn't work out,
yeah,
like it's impossible for me because I'm just like every day I'd be like, you need to explain to me why you don't work out.
Yeah, like why not? Why not? I don't
like,
get it.
I'm like, I just don't like how like it doesn't compute in my head how you think it's okay to not do that in some way, shape, or form. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And listen, I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm just saying this is how my brain works, and this is how I feel. You know what I mean?
If you're going to be in a relationship, you need to be with somebody who understands how your brain works and like wants the same things as you. Like we're not wrong. Like maybe, yeah, we're all like living this weird lifestyle where we're like obsessed with the gym and whatnot, but that's what we like. And people like, I think we talked about this before too, like your version of healthy and not healthy. Like people like drinking a lot, people like partying a lot. Like I like to do both, but like people like the gym is like a habit and a hobby, and like why not want to be with someone who's into it too? Like, I don't know, like I'm the same way. Like, I just don't get it. And I feel like having to explain to someone like why I have to go to the gym is just exhausting to me. It's like, I'd rather them just be like, cool, like love that, like go, or like come with me, you know, versus them being like, oh my God, dreading it, like hate this, like don't want to go to the gym, but they're just going to sit on the couch for hours and hours, you know? It's like, I don't think I'd be able to relate or resonate with that. So I find that really difficult when I'm thinking about a partner too. Like, they would have to want that for themselves as well, I think.
Well, I mean, you just can't have someone questioning you doing what makes you happy. Like,
Yeah, no,
you
100%.
know, this is what brings happiness to your life, and as long as you're doing this, you're going to be happy. Then, like, you honestly can't settle for anything that's going to take away from that, because eventually, you know, like the first 6 months of that relationship's going to wear off, and the honeymoon phase is going to be over, and that shit's going to get real fucking old.
Yeah.
You know, so just don't even put yourself in that situation. That's what I think. You know.
Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest thing to take away from that is just like that, like if you're dating someone, they have to have the same kind of like, oh, I want to better myself, I want to have ambition and goals, and like someone who's going out every weekend and drinking and stuff is like, in my mind, it's like, how is that, like, how are you getting ahead by doing that? Like for me, that's just a waste of time. Like I probably haven't gone out since like Christmas, and that's not because like I don't want to go out, or it's not because like,
or it's wrong. It's just because it's not in line with what you want.
Exactly. Like I have certain goals, and they just don't align with my goals. And
yeah, man, there's the time and the place for that shit. You know what I mean? Like that's
yeah.
what, you know, I used to party a lot and stuff like that. But like I'd say in the last, you know, 10 years, I probably partied like maybe, you know, 12 times.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, and I feel like you found a good balance with it.
So,
yeah, like you found a good balance with it now, but it's like you said, time and place. And I feel like I'm figuring that out now too, especially being in a new place. But like, I love going out and partying. Like I love being social. Like it's one of my favorite things to do, but it's just that balance and like knowing when enough is enough, and like putting your priorities first and being able to like separate those versus having someone who only cares about that and like not the other side of things.
Yeah.
Like I just know for me, like there's years where I'm like, you know, I like especially like that last off season I had where I put on like 30 pounds of muscle, like from 2019 to like 2020, I guess. Like I understood that, like even though competing was far away from me, I was like, okay, this is like grind time for me right now. Like this is where I got to make something happen, or else I'm not going to be able to push myself to the next level. So like all that drinking and shit like just got pushed aside completely, right? But then like summer came around and it was such a circumstantial thing. Like, you know, the show I was training for got canceled. I got in pretty good shape. We were in pandemic. Everything was on lockdown. Like there were no shows for the foreseeable future. I was recently single. Like it was like, so I was like, so I partied a bit this summer. Like, no, nothing crazy, just a handful of times. But like, and then when summer,
you had a good time.
Summer ended, and now it's like, okay, now like that, I'm done with that now. Like
yeah,
now it's work time again now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's how it has to be done, and that's how you can like have balance. Like for me anyway. But yeah, I think like people who are partying every weekend obviously just show that like you can't actually work towards anything worth working towards like in the long term if you're doing that all the time, because you're just not going to be able to get ahead. You're not going to be able to make progress, because not only are you wasting money, but you're wasting days being hungover. I mean, if you're trying to, especially if it comes to like physique, if you're trying to build any kind of physique, you can forget about it. Like,
yeah,
you know, it's just not going to happen. So yeah, I mean, yeah, so
it's definitely something I struggle with though, is like kind of finding balance between those things. Like especially like the past, like, well, since I've been out of high school, I've just been so busy. Like I've pretty much since first year university, I've had 2 jobs, and I've been in university, like taking a full course load, and, you know, trying to work out pretty much every day and like build a physique. And especially in the past 2 years where I've been more focused on bodybuilding, it seems like everything else, like going out and even going out on dates and stuff, it's just kind of like, I just see it as more so like a chore. Like it's not something I want to do. It's like, okay, this is taking away from like time and recovery and something that I could have been doing that I enjoy doing. So it's like, I don't know, it's definitely something I have to work on like the coming years. But for me right now, it's just like, I don't know, it's just something gets in the way.
I think it's like, you know, when I see a guy like you, for example, right? So I think by the time you're 25, you could be a professional classical physique competitor. You could have a shit ton of online clients just by the way you're going. You could have a good YouTube channel. You could have all those things going for you. But if you want that to happen by the time you're 25, forget about balance.
Yeah.
Why do you grind it out
from the time you're 20 to 25?
Yeah, no, true.
Go get successful, right? Establish yourself, get to where you want to
Enjoy
be,
it later.
and then enjoy it when you
Yeah.
put in the work. That's the problem, I think, with a lot of people, is that they balance. Like, I got to have fun. I got to do this. And, they end up never reaching their goals.
No, and I think that's where my head is right now. It's just I'm so focused on like on those goals, and like, whether they're short term or long term, that's all I have in my mind. And if anything doesn't align with those, it's just like, why bother? Like I like, it's something that I can do later. Like,
Yeah, I agree. And I feel like that's actually a conversation that Ryan and I have been having a lot, because in my head, I don't know if it's like going into a lockdown here again, and just like I've been dieting for like a longer period of time than you guys have. Like I started early because I wasn't sure what was going on, and I switched coaches and moving and all of that, like being away from you guys to like not being able to come home like and see like my like gym friends. Like it's been super difficult, and I feel like that's why I'm like, oh, trying to be balanced. But then I'm like, I talked to Ryan and he's kind of like, Taylor, like, what, you tell me these are your goals, like what are your goals? And I'm like, well, I want this, this, and this. And he's like, so do it, like you're the one. And like, it's nice hearing Ryan say it to me, because I feel like there's times where I would do it for him, and it's just like, it's so good having you guys like and hearing all of this again, because it's just like really like getting me back into like that like driven mindset, because it's so easy to fall off of that and like be pressured by like your surroundings and your environment and all of that. And even with dating too, like what Ryan was saying, it was not like it seems like a chore, it's not beneficial. It's like, really, for me to go on a date, like I'd have to do something where I have to like fit stuff into my macros, or I'd have to like accommodate somehow. I don't know if I'm frozen or not, but accommodate somehow. Yeah. And it's just like, it just causes stress, honestly. I'm like, I don't want that. Like how do I commit to somebody or give someone like my all, or even friends and whatnot, when I'm like trying to like build or figure out my own life, like see where I can go with certain things. And like even editing videos, like I'm like, oh, I want to edit a video, and if someone asks me out, like I have to take a day and like go on a date and like not edit my video. And it's just like, there's so many things that like right now it seems like the best thing to do is be selfish, and it sucks because a lot of people are left in the dark for that. But like, I don't know, like I'm in the same boat where I'm like, what, now is the time, like why not now, like I don't know.
Yeah, man.
But
There's a lot of competition in what we're trying to do too, and there's like a lot of young people getting on it early. So like, if you want to make something of it and be able to make a career in it to the point where when you do hit 35, 40, like you got your money made, you can go do the things you want, enjoy life. And that's a beautiful thing about what we're trying to do, right? Like a lot of people think, oh, I hit 40, 45, like my life is over, I'm not going to be able to do much. Like, man, we're going to be good. Like we're training all the time. Like we're going to look damn good, like in our 30s and 40s, right? So like, what better time to go enjoy all the success that we've made? But like, we have to do it now.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, like, and this is like one of those things that you put the work in for a couple of years first. Like it's not like you get it right away. Like if you're working a full-time job, like you're gonna get paid right away. Like this is something that's like, people don't understand, like it takes hours and hours and like dedication and time, and you don't see the results right away. Same thing with training, like it takes time to see your results. So it's like, it's hard, it's easy to like lose sight of that, I guess. So it's great to have people like us and like the Jack Factory team and everything, because you kind of see where you can go with it. And it's like seeing you, Morgan, as an athlete and where you are, and like seeing where Ryan's going, and like all of us growing and like working together. It just really helps you stay focused and stay in check, because like it's just so easy to be like, damn, like I've been doing all this stuff and I feel like I'm getting the minimal results from it. But then like you look at the big picture and you're like, everything is going up. It's just a slow process. So
Yeah, just to touch on that, like someone that I watch is more so like kind of business, like full life success, is Garyvee. And like that guy, he's like 45 or something like that, and he talks a lot about how he spends like all his 20s and 30s just like grinding, like working on the weekends, like just head down. And like people don't see those years that he put in all the work. So like for him, when people see him, he's just like this famous dude that like blew up out of nowhere. He's got this huge media company and he's got tons of money, but like they didn't see like he grew his dad's wine business and spent years working on that, and he was getting nothing from that. Like he didn't take like he got paid a salary, but he didn't take any money from the company, and he grew that so much, and then he just gave it to his dad and moved on. And like with us, I feel like where we post so much about our progress, and literally like week by week we're updating people and followers on where we are. It's easy to kind of look at that and be like, okay, they're not really doing much. Like where's the progress? But if you look at someone like that, who like Gary, who's not posting every week, or he didn't post every week, about his progress in business and life and like his success. And then you look at him just jump to 45 and he's this big successful person. Like it's not really comparable, because with us, it's obviously going to take time to get to where we want to be. Like you said, like if I want to be a pro physique competitor at 25, like that's still 3 more years, and updating it over people weekly on a weekly basis over 3 years, it's not really going to seem like I'm progressing. But in the long term, like I will be. And like looking back on it, I'll be able to see my progress. But like where we're so kind of like in tune with updating people on our progress, it's not really like it doesn't really show like those jumps in success. It's a very slow and steady progress.
Yeah, it like loses its like glam. Like you're like, okay, I
Yeah,
post the same
exactly.
like video
Like,
of me
there's no,
posing
like-
every week, but you go back and you're like, holy shit, 2 years ago I looked like that, and now I'm here. And then you get messages like out of the blue, people are like, hey, I've been following you for like so long and this is like so helpful. And you're like, okay, so like it does matter. It's just like so easy to lose sight of like the value of like the minimal like stuff you have to put in like all the time and like the hours. And it's like it almost seems like volunteer work for like the first few years, because you're not really getting much traction. Like it
there's
just
no
takes
overnight
time.
success or anything like that. It's like you're
Not
posting
for what
about
we
it
do.
so people see it, and they like they're seeing what you see. So it's like, when you look in the mirror every day, you don't see any change. It's like people are seeing that and they're not seeing change either. So it's not like they're able to see like, okay, this person's going places kind of thing.
I think
like when it happens, it happens.
And with people like and their motivation in general, because like you see these like top level bodybuilders or fitness people, and like I think to a lot of people they just seem like so other, like you said, like people think it's almost like they just started out at that point, like they were chosen or they're great and they're just special, and
someone just found them and they were like, we're gonna sponsor them, make them great, like
everything was easy for them. They're just at this point, right? Like, and I guess for me, now that I've been going through it for a bit, I'm kind of going through the process of just like building a following and building my physique at the same time. I have so much more appreciation for people who have made it, and I love hearing people's origin stories, especially like obviously for me, like the top Olympia guys and stuff like that, because man, when you hear what some of these people came from and where they are now, you're just like, yeah, I can do it for sure. Like, like, and then you realize like, you might be down on yourself and like, oh, I'm not here. But you realize like, you're actually doing pretty good. You know what I mean? Like you're just taking your time. Like, I think, as long as you have a goal in mind, you have some kind of plan in place and you just chip away at that and just be consistent and like, just literally just work hard.
Yeah.
You're going to fulfill your potential. And like, your potential might not end up being what you aspire to be, right? But it's still your best. And like, generally people's best is pretty good. And it's a lot better it's way better than a lot of the people who half-assed or didn't try at all.
Exactly. And like that can go for like, not even just bodybuilding, but any section of life. Like no matter what your job is, I feel like a lot of people get a job and they'll half-ass it. But whereas this, I guess, profession as bodybuilding, you can't do that. Like you got to go all in, just balls to the wall, and just try to get to the top.
Getting by if you want results, right?
Yeah.
That's something that I said to Ryan too. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you go ahead. I was done.
No, it's something I said to Ryan too. It was kind of like when you were trying to decide whether you wanted to like go back to school or like whatever. I was kind of like, well, like, what is your goal? Like, is it I was like, I think same thing what you said about Ryan Morgan. Like, I think that he can literally do all of those things. Like, and I think we all can, but like, I really just see like potential with him because of his drive and like his focus. It's just like above the normal person. And like, I was like, what are your goals? Because like, I think you can do it, but if you're going to do it, like, you got to like do it, like, and now it's like when I'm having these dips and he's saying the same thing to me, it's like so motivational, but like, I'm like, look at us being so motivational, talking about life stuff. But like, it's true. It's like, it's one of those things that it just takes time. And like, we kind of just like look at these people and you're like, yeah, like they were just regular individuals and like they all kind of come from that place, I guess.
Well, it's like, man, if you want to be something, start doing it. It's like, if you want to be a professional bodybuilder, start acting like one. You know what I mean? Start living like one, start eating like one, start training like one, start supplementing like one, start taking care of your body like one. And then guess what's going to happen eventually if you live like a professional bodybuilder?
It's almost like
you are one.
You're going to become one.
Right?
It's like you don't get your pro card just because you look good. It's like you get your pro card because like you took time to like learn how to do that. Like it's like you're not like a pro and then like you like start doing pro things. It's like you become a pro and then get the pro card because you were like became a pro at the lifestyle.
Like when I get to this level, or like when my business does this, I'm going to start doing these things. And it's like, no. You have to start doing those things before you get there.
Be it.
Like I've had professional bodybuilder habits for like 3 years, where I've been like, where I know I've been like doing the things I need to do. And it's the last 3 years I've made more progress than I ever have.
Yeah, 100%.
So now I understand. I'm like, okay, if I keep doing these things consistently, like the progress is going to keep happening. I might need a bit more time than I originally thought, but like it's going to happen. You know what I mean? So yeah.
No, it's cool. It's cool to see that like other people have the same mindset and stuff. And it's just like, it's nice because like even when we did touch on relationships and whatnot, like sometimes you do feel like you're lacking. And I know like, again, like Ryan and I talk like almost every day. So we had the same conversation where we're like, are we normal? Like, because we don't want to be with anybody, or like because we're not going on dates and stuff. Like, is this weird? Like, I don't know. And especially for me, because I've been in long-term relationships for so long, but like I'm building relationships in other ways, and like a relationship with myself. And like you said, that lifestyle, I'm like, how am I gonna get into that like routine and like figure myself out and figure that like bodybuilding lifestyle out, or like the dedication, if I'm like worrying about others, or like worrying about like being something I'm not, and like whatever. So I think like just paying attention to like what it takes to like get there over the long term, and like looking at that long-term goal and like putting that into your daily life and like the decisions that you make is like so important. But I've definitely gained like a huge respect for like those people too, now that I'm actually doing it. And even YouTube and all of that, like it's so hard with social media. People just don't realize how much time it takes to get into that stuff. So
YouTube sucks.
I feel like it's yeah,
so hard.
YouTube, yeah, I try to post like once a week there, and like I'm like, why is it so hard? I just have to film my day. But then you think about editing a video, and it takes a day to edit a video, like, you know. Yeah. But you just grow an appreciation for like the good channels and the people that blow up, because you're like, they did it for 2 years, and then people were like, oh shit, this is somebody. But it's like one of those things. Similarly, like you put the work in first, and then like it all kind of comes after, sort of thing.
No one wants to go through the shitty part of anything, right? It's like imagine if you just like quit your job and you're like, okay, I'm going to be an online coach, and you had no clients, right? Like you're going to have a year where you're probably like pretty poor, you know what I mean? But like that's a year where you're like figuring your shit out, and then you start, by year 2 you start gaining clients, by year 3 you're making a good living, right? But you have to be willing to go through like the hard shitty years, right?
Yeah.
Like the years of grinding. And I just think that's what like a lot of people avoid when it kind of comes to anything, right?
Yeah.
They just don't want like to go through anything where they don't look like they're being successful, or you know what I mean, they might actually look like they're unsuccessful.
No, and that's a big point, Morgan, because like I feel like especially as a bodybuilder, like we understand that, you know, we have to learn to kind of enjoy the process, and like really kind of develop a love for that. Because like if for people who don't understand bodybuilding and don't understand like, you know, like progress it just doesn't happen overnight. Like someone who quits their job and starts online coaching, like they're not going to understand that, okay, all this isn't going to come immediately. Like it's going to take time for you to build up and everything like that.
Yeah, well, man, I remember like I started bodybuilding here before it was cool.
Yeah,
like I was like a skinny, like known as like a party guy, like basically, and like, you know, I love lifting weights. And then one day I was just like, man, I'm gonna do this bodybuilding thing, and like, you know, I didn't look like a swimmer. Right? So like telling people that like I'm gonna compete and like take this seriously and like this is what I want to do, like everyone's just like, what? Like, what are you talking? So I had 2 or 3 years of people just waiting for me to quit.
You know that's crazy.
Every year, like, you're doing the show again, and just like off season depression. No fucking around. And then by 2017, 2018, people were like, I finally
shit.
Yeah.
Like, but it was a good 5 years like being steady at it. You know what I mean? And then it's like, okay, now things are starting to pay off a little bit, like for me, obviously, right? But yeah, like, you know, so those are the crucial years that, you know, not many people are willing to do what it takes to get through it.
Yeah, I didn't know that, man. I didn't know that you just jumped into it like that. I thought it was kind of like, you know.
Yeah, like I was lifting weights and stuff, and like I was like partying, like lifting weights, like, you know, kind of trying to do both at the same time. But like, and like I love partying, man, like you know. But
you know, I've seen you guys downtown once or twice.
I like lifting weights a little bit more, right? And
Yeah.
I miss being competitive for my years in sports, so I was like, I got to give this bodybuilding thing a go. And then after I did my first show, man, I was just like absolutely hooked. Like there was nothing that was going to stop me from doing that, even though like I look like the biggest joke ever. But I was like, one day I'll get there, like, you know. So
yeah, and I think that's kind of kind of where I kind of came from. Like I love training so much, and like even when I was playing sports, like I kind of transitioned because like I was training for sports, but my love for training kind of took over, and I was like, I think I like this a little more. And then when I competed, it was like my training, my diet, like I kind of connected that like my diet is good and my training is even better now. So it's like you kind of like you're like, okay, why if I love this so much, why would I not make it as optimal as it can be? And then you're getting the most progress from that, and it's just like I don't know. It's just
because then you're just like, what can I do to keep progressing? Like what, like, you know, like what more can I learn?
And you're just like so invested in yourself. Yeah.
It's an addiction.
Man. The early years are the funnest, man. Like I remember being and like watching every YouTube video I could, just like soaking up like everything. And like that's when like I just like was new to it, so there was this like massive encyclopedia of like YouTube videos that I'd never seen before. Like watching stuff like John Meadows stuff, like 2-3 years old, like just trying to like, and like that's where a lot of my education I have now came from, was just like my like first 3-4 years of bodybuilding, just being like infatuated by everything about it, and then just trying to absorb as much as I could through just like reading articles on the internet, like T Nation, muscular development, like Flex, like being on the old forums before social media was the thing, like you know, before your guys' time, like
before our time.
It is the animal forum, like, and like you talk about a niche group of people, like social media exploded fitness, but it's still a niche group of people. Like before social media, man, you'd have like 50-60 guys on like a forum who all like knew each other, just talking about like, you know, diet, training, drugs, supplements, whatever. And you know, so like there was information out there. There wasn't as much, but like anything I could find, I just like, you know, was obsessed with it.
No, when I started training, I used to go on bodybuilding.com all the time and like go to like like the list, and it was like it was similar to like what you're talking about with the animal form or the T Nation. It was just like people could just talk about kind of whatever there, and it'd be just like under like certain supplements and stuff. People would talk about random stuff.
I remember when this is how old I am. I remember when bodybuilding.com was like
it was like a cool thing. I remember like looking it up, being like,
yeah, I was on like the old hardcore forums, like the bodybuilder dudes. Because remember, like there wasn't even like bikini or men's physique, right? Like, it was like that just started like when I started, so that was all really new. So people weren't really talking about that much. And then when bodybuilding.com came, like that was kind of like the joke on the other forums, was like that's the forum for like the men's physique and bikini. But then obviously it became what it became, which was
me and you too.
Clearly why Ryan and I found it so cool.
We're like, this is sick.
Made for you guys,
We're like, we love this.
But then it became awesome, like hub for bodybuilding, right? So, crazy.
Wicked. Well,
yeah, no, I feel the same about like the progress thing too. I feel like we're all on the same page, and it's just cool like watching you, Morgan, grow on social media, because I feel like I was like pushing that for so long, and then I feel like you're watching us grow like with learning life habits and things that you probably went through when you were like our age, because you're only a couple years older than us anyway. But like even just trying to decide like what to do with school and like job and like all that kind of stuff, like you've got that stuff sort of figured out. We're like still navigating it, but like supporting each other and like sharing the experiences, and like even listening to these podcasts and stuff is so helpful. But I think like at the end of the day, like like having that mindset of like, okay, I gotta put the work in, is like why we're all what I think we're all gonna be successful with it. And I feel like that's why, because like we understand that work comes first, and it kind of overlays in everything. So
it is awesome for me seeing you guys, like, and not just you two. There's others obviously as well that I'm talking about, but there's category people who are just like, you know, kind of understand that like they don't need to just fall under the social norm just because like fitness is their hobby anymore. Like you know, you don't need to go get a regular job. Like there's money to be made here. Like, you know what I mean? And I'm just happy to see like you guys understanding that and like starting to kind of, you know, understand more and more of that and work towards it. And because I think it's just going to pay like dividends for you guys to, you know, sort of do what I did in a way, and just be like, you know what, I'm not going to do the normal thing. I'm just going to go like train people and coach people and try to do this like competing thing. And I think it's
have fun and do shit you enjoy.
Just do what you enjoy and just believe in yourself more than anything. And you know what I mean? And because I know like where we're from specifically, like that can be more difficult than in other places. You know what I mean? Like there's a certain way things are kind of here, right? And if you kind of go outside of that, you can be easily judged and people try to turn you away from that. So just to see like people younger than me that are kind of like still just doing their own thing despite that.
Branching out.
I love seeing it.
Yeah, I feel like it's because we live in such a small place that it's just like everybody kind of knows everybody and they know what you're doing. And it's like if you're doing something that's out of the normal, it's just like, there's going to be judgment and there's going to be kind of like, obviously like people are like, why is he doing this? Like, what's the point kind of thing? Like when everyone else is out partying or just getting a normal job or doing whatever. Right. So.
Well, it's our culture, right?
Yeah, it's a small town.
A lot of people want to make a lot of money here so they can party and have a good time on the weekends, right? Like that's like, people want to go downtown, be a big shot, like, and they want to have money for that. Like it's true. It is what
100%.
I've been around long enough to realize that. But yeah, like when you don't fit in that mold, people here are like, what the fuck? Like,
what's wrong with you?
There's something else in your life. Like, you want to work out and eat healthy. What? Like, but but now we got our little like group established and,
I know. I think that like we've really all kind of like found that like niche, like branched out and like made something of it, which is super nice because I kind of felt the same. I felt like I was always, people were like, what are you doing? And even when I started vlogging, like guys from high school would come over for like Canada Day or something. They'd be like, oh, like, are we going to be in one of your vlogs? Like, and like making comments. I'm like, it's funny. Like, it is funny. I get it. But like, I'm like, but it's just so unheard of to like step outside of your comfort zone in that way, especially for me anyways. But like my girlfriends are so supportive and like everyone is supportive. But like having you guys be like, okay, that's cool and like supportive versus being like judgmental. And like you said, there's a lot of people that for some reason don't like seeing other people succeed, even though they're doing the same thing versus us and our like little group that we've kind of like developed is like, oh my God, Morgan did this thing that's so cool. Like, I want to do it. Or I'm like messaging you guys, like, I can't wait to come home so we could do a photo shoot together versus like, oh, Ryan and Morgan's photos are better than mine. They're doing better. It's like, let's do shit together. Like, let's grow together and like finding this like group that like kind of gives you that like wholesomeness that like you would get from home or your friend group or whatever. But we don't get that in Newfoundland because people just don't really understand it as much, I don't think.
Yeah,
definitely.
Exactly.
Go Team Jack Factory.
I had something to say there, but I think I lost it.
It's because I talk a lot. I just cut everyone off.
I was gonna say, like, I think like we're having an effect, right? Like, especially on like the younger group, like especially around here, I find like like a lot more people reply to my content and share stuff and talk about you,
Same.
talk about you, Taylor, like same thing, right? Like, so I think it's I think we're definitely having an effect in a sense that like we're helping fitness become like more cool and more trendy, and I don't love trends, but like if fitness is a trend that gets like younger people involved and gets them away from like the shitty part of our culture here, which is like starting to get drunk and go on George Street when you're 15, then I think that's nothing but positive, right?
Yeah, 100%.
I totally agree. And it's like females even reaching out to me and like I forward a lot of girls to your guys' pages and I'm like, hey, it's not just like girls supporting girls. Like I'm like, these guys have a lot of great things to say. And Morgan always gets on his stories and talks about like his female clients, which I love. And I feel like I'm like trying to share this with you guys too. Like I get a lot of girls reach out and I'm like, hey, like follow these platforms. Or when I have clients sign up, I'm like, I give a list of Instagram people and I'm like, follow these people like while you're working with me, like, and I just feel like we are making it more like we make it seem like it's adaptable and it's a lifestyle versus it being something that you have to like crash diet and do and whatever. And I feel like we share all these things with people that are big baby. We share like all these things with people that like make it easy and like understandable and it's just like no pressure. And I don't know, I think that we are having an influence, us being influencers, but we are having an influence on the community and like I love it. I don't know, and I'm excited to see where it kind of goes.
And think about it, we did a lot of this through a pandemic too, like, you know what I mean? Just as far as just staying consistent with it and like hard times for people to even be focusing on this kind of stuff, right? So
yeah,
I
sure.
think what we'll see now is like, I guess in a sense, all the hard work throughout this pandemic phase pay off even more when the world kind of gets back to normal and the gyms are back to normal and it's just a lot like health and fitness is easier for people to prioritize. You know what I mean?
We can do some real damage then when I can actually see you guys.
It's something to look forward to, right? And then from a content perspective, it's going to be awesome. So something to be excited.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
Exciting stuff. Well, I think we'll call it there, guys. That was a great chat.
That was a good one.
Yeah, I'm like motivated now. I'm like fired up. ready to go. I'm gonna go work out after this. So I'm
No, I'm
like
looking at the
super,
clock. I'm
super
like,
pumped.
still an hour away from even pre.
I'm like, I'm going right away. I'm so lucky that I get to use a gym still. Everyone else is like in full lockdown here, but because I'm the only employee and it's in my building, I'm allowed to use it. And I'm like, that's why I'm still prepping. So I'm like, I get to use the gym. I'm like, but.
Is it just a 2-week lockdown for you guys?
Sorry?
Is it just 2 weeks?
4.
Nice.
Yeah, they said 4, and we've been getting, I think we have like almost 500 cases right now or something crazy. So
are you doing Atlantics too, Taylor?
I wasn't going to, because I'm kind of like, I just need to start competing at nationals and getting that feedback now. So it's kind of like, for money wise, I'm like, why? If I can go to Newfoundland and just like get the qualification and move on, then like I'm gonna do that. But I honestly, wherever I can compete is where I'm going at this point, because I'm like, we're dieting, and I do think that the Newfoundland show is going to be pushed to July. So just because like of the border stuff. So I'm kind of like, wherever I can go, I'm going to go at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think that's probably going to happen too. So.
Yeah, I just want to do a national show.
I'm honestly debating going to the States. What?
Yeah. Well, North Americans in September in Pittsburgh. And you don't even need to qualify for that.
I would get absolutely mogged on stage.
As a natural.
It'd be sick though.
Yeah.
I would love. Hey.
No, well, I'm talking about more so than you, obviously.
No, I'd probably get rocked too.
But I mean, I think like a pro card in every class for that show. So, yeah, it's
guys, let's start planning our trips to the States too, because honestly, I need like backup plans to stay motivated here.
Well, Florida for the Olympia Amateur.
That's what I want to do, the Olympia Amateur.
And they just announced the Arnold in September.
Word.
So that they have an amateur.
So sick.
That's another one that you don't need to qualify for in the States.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's going to be a few options for sure, but yeah, I got a feeling this.
Just got to grind out the summer.
I think this prep's going to be a little stretched out for sure.
I agree.
Yeah. Ready for summer.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, true.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for your time. That was great. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Bye-bye.
Peace. Have a good one.